everyone, this is Connor with Brown and Daughters Honey, also known as My Hobby. Just wanted to give you a quick tour of the apiary. Give you a little update. Today is April 21st. We've had our first big honey flow, maybe two to be honest. I really don't know the flowers here. I'm still learning them. I know in the States the swarm season is about to start, or it has started, depending on the geography. But over here in the Levant, which is in the Eastern Mediterranean, spring sprang a long time ago. So I went ahead and made a split. It's kind of an interesting story. This is the little nuke that I'm going to just try a walk-away split. There's 6 frames in there. There's plenty of food, there's plenty of nectar, bee bread, honey, there's eggs, larvae, and a decent amount of nurse bees. And you can see they're out flying now, they're orienting, kind of hovering around like that. And I think they should be okay, but we won't know, for 45 days, I think, is when you do a walk-away split. You don't really know if you have a good mated queen. This is my insurance policy. Just in case we have, a swarm or a dead out or a failed hive. There's one I've been worried about. This is the hive that I made the split off of. It looks like a double deep. It's not. You can see the queen excluder. It in fact is a brood chamber on the bottom, a single, and then for the super we just have a deep. The reason I made the split off of this one in particular, they're not rip-roaringly strong. It's a good, strong, quality hive. The reason I did is because of a mistake I made. I thought I was being smart and trying to draw the bees up into the super because we didn't have comb. We had a lot of issues with comb, so I pretty much had to start everything from foundation. So to be smart, I went ahead and pulled up a couple of frames of brood, knowing that the nurse bees would follow them up, and I thought I saw the queen, but I didn't. So she was up there and she started to lay. So now this one had plenty of eggs, plenty of brood, so I went ahead and split it. There's no cells, no swarm cells. They're not going to swarm. I did it just because they're strong, and I really hope that they can hatch that brood and get it cleared out and backfilled by the time the flow is over. But you can see they're nice and strong. They are out finding something. I don't know if you can see it, but you look all down this line and you can just see thousands of bees flying in, out, in, out, in, out. They're probably still a little mad at me. These are my most productive hives, Hive 2, Hive 3, very original names. You can see we've got a single brood chamber on the bottom. We've got 2 mediums and a deep for the supers. The mediums right now, one is drawn comb. They drew it out very quickly, a week. They drew the whole thing out. It's amazing what a good nectar flow will do for the wax glands. And they started to fill it up with nectar, a little bit of pollen, mostly nectar. But I have been worried about these. Even though they don't show any signs of swarming, they are packed. I mean, just as packed as a hive can be. And I don't know if you can see. I really hope this shows up, but you can just see. I mean, activity, activity, activity. I know it's not smart to have them so close together. I'm sure there's drift between the two, and I hope they're disease-free. Oh, hello. They're still mad at me. I've been worried about them, so I went ahead and checkerboarded those 2 mediums with drawn comb and foundation. I'm going to move on because they're pretty mad. Here I've got Hive 4 and 5, very original name again. The reason one of them is got 2 supers, a medium and a deep, the other is a single. 4, they're a good hive. I don't know if it's because they're in the shade of this tree, but they just, they're kind of lazy, I guess. I don't really know what's going on with them. They just haven't really kicked it into gear. 5, they are doing okay. The medium was just put on today. Again, it's foundation. They'll draw it out no problem. They're a little slow. They were a little slow to draw out the top super, so I went ahead and again I pulled up a couple of combs of brood, and they followed it right up. We've got 8 out of order, and I'm in the middle of these bees, and I really hope I don't smell like alarm pheromone, because I tell you what I did. I accidentally dropped. I tipped the box like Cayman Reynolds shows in one of his videos to look for swarm cells, and I slipped on some gravel as I was doing it, and man, they were not happy. So I'm sure I smell like alarm pheromone. But if I get stung, I get stung. This one is the swarm that we captured, and they're doing very well. I really have not wanted to dig in there too much. I supered them, not in a desire to get honey, but I supered them just because they were so active and bringing in so much nectar that I didn't want them to get honey bound, and I just am not ready to go to dual brood chambers, a double brood chamber. Eventually I think I want to go that direction. I didn't want to do it with this because all the other are single, and I just don't want to have the complication of remembering which one is which. And we've got hive 6 and 7. 6 and 7 were moved. They actually were just behind 4 and 5 at the beginning of the spring, but they got moved over to 6 and 7, and they were not doing well. They didn't come out of winter so great, but they got moved in an attempt to put them facing the eastern rising sun and maybe raise their activity levels. 6 has been slow to move up into that super. Again, you can't blame them. So I did the same trick. I grabbed a couple of frames of brood and brought them up, and they followed, and they're slowly drawing out. And then we've got 7. 7 I was convinced was dead. 7 has been doing horribly. The queen is a queen from last year. She's a fall queen. I just was convinced she was poorly mated, and I have robbed from the rich and given to the poor, and it didn't work. And we hit this nectar flow, and all of a sudden it just seemed to have worked. I don't know if it was drift, because they're at the end of this long line, and they just upped their population due to drift from the hives next to them. I don't know if finally just putting in, I'm telling you, I think I've put in 5 frames of brood from different hives, and it finally seems to have worked. They probably have maybe 6 frames of bees in there now. That's okay. I'm not looking for them to produce honey. I'm looking at them to survive. If the queen is in fact well mated, she's not old, then I'd like for them to go into winter healthy. If for whatever reason we do have an extended spring, it's been rainy, the blooms have been delayed this year, and so if we have a long season, maybe they'll produce. I don't care. I just want them to survive. I have thrown my hands up with them. I thought I was just going to let them die and replace them with a split, but I don't know, kind of want them to live now. So that's it. As you can see, it's a very, very busy day in the yard. I doubt severely that you're able to see these bees, but it looks like it's raining. It really does. Just standing here, it looks like it's raining. Well, from the Central District, the coastal plain of Israel, this is Connor with Brown & Daughters Honey, and I'm hoping wherever you are in the world, you're going to have a nice weekend, and I hope your bees are doing very well. I hope they're doing as well as mine, and even better. Shabbat Shalom.